Could a mushroom really, like, boost your brain power and make you feel happier at the same time?
It's a question a lot of people are asking these days.
Yeah, and you're interested in lion's mane, right?
Right.
Specifically for, those brain benefits and the mood benefits, and
Yeah.
we've got a whole bunch of human
You
studies
do?
to dive into
Excellent.
to see if, like, the hype is actually real.
Yeah, let's see what the science says.
So imagine, like, clearer thinking, feeling calmer, maybe even, like, remembering where you left your keys, all thanks to, like, this funky-looking mushroom.
It's a fascinating mushroom. It really is.
Okay, so let's dive in.
Let's do it.
One of the studies that I thought was super interesting was one that tackled mild cognitive impairment.
MCI.
Yeah.
Okay.
So MCI,
Yeah.
it's like those frustrating senior moments
Right.
that could be like a precursor to, more serious decline.
Yeah, that's a really important area to look at.
Yeah, so researchers in Japan, they worked with 30 elderly people
Okay.
who were already experiencing MCI.
And that's a key population because if it can show benefits there, it could have, really big implications for healthy aging and even like saving off conditions like Alzheimer's.
Yeah, for sure. And they split these volunteers into two groups.
Okay.
One got lion's mane powder every day, the other a placebo.
So that's important. It's a placebo-controlled trial. That's the gold standard for research.
Yeah, it helps make sure it's like actually the mushroom doing the work, not just people like thinking it's going to work.
Exactly. The power of suggestion
Yeah.
can be strong.
Right. And so they tracked their cognitive function for 12 weeks using this standard test
Okay.
that, measures memory and thinking abilities.
That's good. That's rigorous. We need that.
We need to have solid evidence, right?
We do.
Not just anecdotes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so drum roll for the results.
All right.
At weeks 8 and 12,
Okay.
the lion's mane group had like way better scores than the placebo group.
So their brains were sharper.
Yeah, their brains were sharper demonstrably.
Wow.
But here's the catch. 4 weeks after they stopped taking lion's mane, those improvements like went away.
Interesting.
Yeah, so does this mean you're like tethered to these supplements forever?
That is a really important question, and it's one that researchers are still kind of trying to figure out.
Right.
We need more data, especially those long-term studies, to figure out
Yeah.
what's going on there.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're particularly interested in mood support.
I am very interested in that.
So let's switch gears a little bit
Okay.
to a study that looked at how lion's mane impacts anxiety and depression,
Right.
specifically in women going through menopause.
That's interesting.
Because,
Yeah.
hormones are like doing their own little dance during that time.
A big transition, right?
Yeah, and it often brings, mood swings along for the ride.
Yeah. And finding natural ways to kind of support women's emotional well-being during that time is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. So this study involved 30 women,
Okay.
and get this, they used cookies.
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 All right.
Some of them had lion's mane baked in,
Okay.
and others were just plain old placebo cookies.
Clever.
I know, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Makes it more palatable.
Who's going to say no to cookies for science?
Exactly.
So for 4 weeks, they tracked these ladies' mood and anxiety levels using some standardized scales.
I see.
And the women who were munching on the lion's mane cookies reported like significantly lower scores for both anxiety and depression compared to the placebo cookie group.
That's fascinating.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
They also said they felt less irritable and had fewer concentration problems.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So it's like those little everyday wins.
Yes, those are the things that people really notice, right?
Yeah.
It's not just the score on a test. It's actually like feeling a difference in your life.
Yeah. Okay. Ready for another deep dive?
Hit me.
This one gets into the gut-brain connection.
Ah, the gut-brain connection.
That fascinating, like, two-way street between our belly and our brain.
Yeah, one of my favorite topics.
So this study focused on people with IBS.
IBS, irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which often comes with, like,
Yeah.
a lot of anxiety, depression,
Right.
and sleep troubles.
It's a reminder that our physical and mental health are just so interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
IBS isn't just about gut symptoms. It can really impact the whole person.
For sure. So they had 63 participants,
Okay.
some getting lion's mane, some getting a placebo
All right.
for 8 weeks.
Okay.
And they used, like, questionnaires to assess their mood, their sleep quality, and their IBS symptom severity.
So a good multi-pronged approach
Yeah.
to really understand the whole picture.
Totally. And here's where it gets interesting. The lion's mane group, they saw, like, big improvements in their mood and their sleep
Okay.
after both 4 and 8 weeks.
Good.
So they were less anxious, less depressed, and they were sleeping better.
That's fantastic.
But here's the kicker. Their actual IBS symptoms didn't improve that much.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
So is lion's mane working on the gut-brain axis, easing the mental distress that comes with IBS without necessarily, like, fixing the gut itself?
So maybe influencing the communication pathways between the gut and the brain,
Yeah.
leading to these kind of indirect benefits.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
That's a mystery worth
Well,
unraveling.
it is.
So we'll delve into more research on this mind-boggling mushroom after the break, but let that sink in for now. A mushroom that might just be a key to like a sharper mind and a brighter mood.
Very interesting. Can't wait to hear more.
Stick around.
Welcome back to our deep dive into lion's mane.
We've only just scratched the surface of this like really fascinating fungus.
There's so much more to learn.
So we've seen it potentially boosting brain power, lifting mood,
Yeah.
but this next study like dives even deeper into how it affects the brain.
Okay, I'm ready.
Remember nerve growth factor or NGF?
Yes, NGF.
It's like fertilizer for our brain cells.
It helps them grow and connect and thrive.
Yeah, so NGF is like crucial for maintaining, healthy cognitive function like throughout our lives.
Yeah, anything that can increase NGF production has a lot of potential for supporting brain health.
Totally. So this study used rat cells in a lab
Okay.
and exposed them to extracts of both the mycelium.
The mycelium, that's the underground network of the mushroom, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
and the fruiting body.
The part we typically see.
Exactly.
Interesting.
So they wanted to see if either extract could stimulate NGF production.
Like comparing the roots and the fruit
Yeah.
to see what's more potent?
And guess what? Both extracts led to a significant increase in NGF
Wow.
in those rat cells.
So it's like they were given a brain-boosting cocktail.
Yeah, but we got to be cautious here.
Of course.
This was an in vitro study.
Right, so in a test tube, not in a living thing.
Yeah.
We can't just assume the same thing will happen in humans.
Yeah, for sure. But it's still a very promising finding, right?
It is very promising.
It hints at lion's mane's potential ability to support the growth and function of brain cells,
Yeah.
and maybe even protect them from damage.
It all ties in with that study on MCI we talked about earlier.
Right.
If lion's mane boosts NGF, it could explain why it seems to improve cognitive function in people who are already showing some signs of decline.
It's speaking of protecting the brain.
Yes.
Let's shift gears to a study that looked at lion's mane's potential to shield against stroke damage.
Okay.
Again, this was in rats.
Okay.
As, a stroke happens when blood flow to the brain gets interrupted.
Right. And that can be devastating.
Yeah, it's a major health concern for sure. So in this study,
Yeah.
researchers gave rats lion's mane extract for a few days before inducing a stroke in the lab.
Okay, I see.
They wanted to see if it offered any protection.
So like a pre-treatment.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then they assessed the extent of brain damage and how well the rats recovered.
That's a good way to measure it.
And they also measured levels of BDNF.
BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
Yeah, another protein that's like super vital for brain health.
It's involved in learning and memory, and it also helps protect brain cells from stress and damage.
Yeah, and the results?
Tell me.
The rats that got lion's mane had significantly less brain damage after the stroke.
Really?
Yeah, and they showed better recovery.
That's pretty amazing.
I know. And they had higher levels of BDNF in their brains.
So that suggests that lion's mane might actually have neuroprotective effects.
Yeah?
It could help shield the brain from the damage caused by a stroke, and that increase in BDNF could be a key part of that protection.
It makes you wonder if lion's mane could play like a preventative role.
Right, not just in recovery, but in reducing the risk in the first place.
Yeah, that's a question that definitely needs more research.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so let's move on to a topic that might hit a little closer to home for some people.
Cholesterol.
High cholesterol is a big risk factor for heart disease.
It is a major risk factor.
And we found a study that examined lion's mane's effects on cholesterol levels,
All right.
this time in mice.
Mice, okay.
So cholesterol, it's tricky, right?
Yeah, there's good cholesterol and bad cholesterol, and it's all about the balance between the two.
Exactly. So in this study, they fed mice a high-fat diet.
Oh, the kind of really cranks up those cholesterol numbers.
Yeah, and some of the mice also got lion's mane extract along with their, fatty feast.
Okay, interesting.
And after a while, they checked their blood lipid profiles.
Those lipid profiles can tell you a lot about a person's, or in this case, a mouse's risk of heart disease.
Yeah, for sure. And the results were pretty impressive.
Okay, tell me more.
The mice who, enjoyed lion's mane alongside their high-fat diet had significantly lower total cholesterol,
Okay.
lower LDL cholesterol,
The bad kind?
yeah, the bad kind, and lower triglycerides.
Wow.
And they had higher levels of HDL cholesterol.
The good kind.
Yeah, the good kind.
So even while they were eating this diet that's known to raise cholesterol,
Yeah.
lion's mane seemed to help keep those levels in check.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if lion's mane could be like a valuable addition to a heart-healthy lifestyle.
Right. Even for people who maybe struggle to maintain a perfect diet.
Yeah.
This study gives us some really encouraging evidence for lion's mane's potential role in cardiovascular health.
Mm-hmm.
But as always, we need more research, especially in humans, to really confirm these findings.
Okay, so we've talked about lion's mane's potential benefits for the brain, mood, and even cholesterol.
It's amazing.
Remember that study on IBS?
Yes.
And the gut-brain connection?
That two-way communication.
Yeah, it turns out there's even more to explore when it comes to lion's mane and gut health.
The gut is often called our second brain, and for good reason, it really plays a role in so many aspects of our health.
Totally. So this next study looked at lion's mane's effects on gastric ulcers.
Gastric ulcers.
Yeah, those painful sores that
Yeah.
can develop in the stomach lining.
They can be caused by stress, certain medications, or even a bacteria called H. pylori,
Yeah, they're more common than people might think.
and they can be really debilitating.
So this study used rats again,
Okay.
and they wanted to see if lion's mane could protect against ulcers caused by ethanol.
Ethanol, that's the type of alcohol we find in drinks.
Yeah,
Okay.
and ethanol is known to irritate the stomach lining.
Yeah, it's a relevant model for studying ulcer development.
So they gave some rats lion's mane before exposing them to the ethanol.
Okay.
And others just got the ethanol.
The control group.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they examined their stomachs to see how many ulcers had formed.
Why?
They also measured levels of oxidative stress in the stomach tissue.
Oxidative stress, that's like an imbalance between harmful free radicals and the body's ability to neutralize them. It's a major player in lots of diseases, including ulcers.
And the results,
I'm on the edge of my seat.
the rats who got lion's mane beforehand had significantly fewer and less severe ulcers.
Really?
Yeah, and they had lower levels of oxidative stress in their stomachs.
So it seems like lion's mane might actually protect against those ethanol-induced ulcers.
Yeah.
And that protection could be linked to its ability to reduce oxidative stress.
It makes you wonder if lion's mane could also help protect the stomach from other kinds of damage.
Right, not just alcohol.
Yeah, like maybe from certain medications or even that H. pylori bacteria.
It's an exciting possibility that really needs more research.
Yeah, it seemed like lion's mane has its metaphorical fingers in a lot of pies.
It really does. It's showing up as a potential player in so many different areas of health.
From the brain to the gut.
It's remarkable how versatile this mushroom seems to be.
But with all these potential benefits, it's natural to wonder about the flip side, right?
Yeah. Are there any downsides to lion's mane?
Are there any risks or side effects people should know about? We'll explore that when we come back to the final part of our deep dive. All right, we are back for the final part of our lion's mane journey.
The moment of truth.
We've explored its potential to, boost brain power,
Yeah.
brighten our mood,
Protect us from stroke damage.
even improve cholesterol.
It's been a wild ride.
But before we, all rush out to stock up, we need to talk about safety.
Yeah.
Is this super shroom all sunshine and rainbows, or are there some, dark clouds lurking?
It's always smart to consider both sides.
Right, so let's talk side effects.
All right, the million-dollar question.
What's the deal?
Well, the good news is that based on the research we have, lion's mane seems to be pretty well tolerated.
Okay, that's good.
Most people don't experience any, bad reactions.
But most doesn't mean all right.
True, true.
Have there been any reports of any negative side effects at all?
There have been a few, but they're usually mild and don't happen very often.
Okay, what kinds of things are we talking about?
The most common complaints are tummy troubles,
Okay.
upset stomach, maybe some diarrhea.
So basically some tummy grumbles.
Yeah, exactly.
Not really a deal breaker for a sharper mind and a happier mood.
Right.
But still, it's smart to be cautious, right?
Always a good idea. So with any new supplement, start with a small dose
Okay.
and see how your body reacts.
Mm-hmm.
You can always increase it gradually if you need to.
Makes sense. And if you have any health conditions or you're taking any medications, you should definitely talk to your doctor before adding lion's mane.
Absolutely 100% get that personalized advice.
So the thing that I noticed as we were going through all these studies was that the dosages were all over the place.
Yeah, that's true. The dosages varied quite a bit.
So is there a magic number, the perfect amount of lion's mane to take?
Unfortunately not. There's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Okay.
It really depends on the person, what health issue they're trying to address.
Mm-hmm.
Even the form of lion's mane they're using.
Yeah, some studies use powders, some use extracts.
And those can have different concentrations of the active compounds.
So how do you even know where to start?
Well, the product label is a good place to begin.
Okay.
Reputable manufacturers will give you recommended dosages based on their specific products.
But those are just general guidelines, right?
Right, exactly, which is why it's so important to loop in your healthcare provider.
Okay.
They can consider your individual health history, any meds you're taking,
Mm-hmm.
and help you figure out the best dose for you.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have brain boosting, mood lifting, gut health, heart health.
It seems like lion's mane might be a multitasking marvel.
It does seem that way.
But with all things health related, there's nuance, right?
Absolutely. Lion's mane is definitely promising,
Yeah.
and the research we've talked about is pretty compelling,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not a magical cure-all.
So no ditching all our healthy habits and just popping some lion's mane.
Definitely not.
Okay, good to know.
Think of lion's mane as like a tool
Yeah.
to support your overall health journey.
Not a replacement for a healthy lifestyle.
Exactly.
What a ride this has been.
It has been fascinating.
We've gone from, skepticism to cautious optimism.
I'm feeling pretty optimistic.
Me too. I'm really intrigued by lion's mane and all its potential.
Yeah, it's really exciting to see all this research coming out.
Yeah, and it seems like it could be, like a really valuable ally.
As we navigate the ups and downs of life and aging.
Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into the world of lion's mane.
I've learned a lot.
We hope you found it informative, incessful, and maybe even a little inspiring.
And as always, do your own research.
Keep asking questions.
See if lion's mane might be right for you.
Until next time, stay curious.
Thanks for joining us.